That's Max Kellerman, because I'm just looking at the manner in which they got destroyed. And we're going to get into the Utah Jazz a little bit later, but I will say this to America. The Utah Jazz have hit 53 pointers in the last 2 games. No team in NBA history, not even the Golden State Warriors, have done that. This team is scary. And I'm not going to lie, Max, I didn't see it. You know, we just had this conversation a couple of weeks ago when you were raving about the Utah Jazz. I didn't see it. I'm looking at Donovan Mitchell, and I said, I got to see it to believe it. I got to see it to believe it. I got to see it to believe it. And I look at the Lakers last night, and the reason why I don't give them a pass, it's not just because the Jazz were making shots. It's how little resistance they posed. You know what? You can struggle without Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder offensively. What's the excuse defensively? This is a Frank Vogel defensively coached team. Frank Vogel knows a thing or two about coaching defense. That's why he got the head coaching job to begin with, even though he wasn't the Lakers' first choice, because of the job that he did in Indiana all of those years when they were trying to compete for an Eastern Conference crown against LeBron James and Dwayne Wade's Miami Heat. But in the end, I look at the Los Angeles Lakers. Just because Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder's not there doesn't mean that you're supposed to forget how to play defense. Stay in front of your man. Stay with your man. Not letting everybody have a damn layup line, for crying out loud, or get wide open 3-point shots. Where's the defensive intensity? Where's the pride? Where's the pride? And I'm not talking about LeBron James. I'm not talking about him at all, because the man shows up. And let's give credit where credit is due. He just didn't have any help. I'm looking at everybody else in between. I'm looking at a Morris. I'm looking at a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I'm looking at an Alex Caruso. I'm looking at all of these other guys. I'm just saying, defense for the most part is about effort. And when the Jazz show up, I understand that Rudy Gobert is a force. I understand that Donovan Mitchell is a stud. Mike Conley Jr. didn't miss a shot in the first half. Okay? And I'm just looking at them right now. At halftime, the Utah Jazz had went 6 quarters, hitting 43 threes. I understand that's a problem until I'm looking and I'm saying, damn, how much more wide open can they be? Now, there's a lot that goes into that. And again, we'll get into that when we get into the subject on the Utah Jazz. But in the end, I'm going to look at the Los Angeles Lakers. You're champions. And yes, it's a regular season game, and I'm not going to overblow it. I'm simply talking about, if you know you don't have Anthony Davis, and you know you don't have Dennis Schroeder, and Rajon Rondo is no longer there, and Dwight Howard is no longer there, and JaVale McGee is no longer there, I'm going to blame one or two things. I'm going to blame effort, or I'm going to blame Rob Pelinka, because you can't lose both of McGee and Dwight Howard, even though Montrezl Harrell is what you added to the mix. You can't. It's either effort, or it's the fact that those dudes ain't there, and you have no rim protection whatsoever. It's one or the other. But either way you slice it, as good as Utah is and as good as they look, it's about the Lakers too. And as we sit here and talk about the Lakers, Max, that's what I walk away looking at. Effort, or, you let 2 bigs get away that you shouldn't have let get away.
Support for the show, FYF Sports, is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all of your below-the-waist grooming needs. Get 20% off and free shipping with coupon code FYFCREW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code FYFCREW. Your balls will thank you.
All I hear is yap, 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 yap. Ain't talking about nothing, right? Watch this. We gon' bring that pressure.
Just a little FYI, FYF. 20K sub 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF. 20K sub 6 months, what's next? Woo, fuck your feelings. We all know who the real is. I be getting to it, ain't wasting no time. Walking straight in, we ain't waiting in line. Fuck your feelings, you don't care about mine. You a YouTube gangster, don't be yelling out slime. Or you talking LB, talking ticket TV. Ain't nobody watching them, all the viewers be sleep. 5 years in, all your subs is your friends. Ticket TV, watch your cars again. Just a little FYI, FYF. 20K subs, 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF. 20K subs, 6 months, what's next? Woo! Fuck your feelings. We all know who the really all know. Shop don't close, working 24, trying to make the channel grow. Look at them, pointing fingers, hating on the low. You can't compete with our podcast show. Couldn't make it in the league, so we got on TV. Crying by LeBron like a little baby.
Hey, it's FYF Sports Man. It's Lamont. We are back with another NBA film study video, and yeah, as you guys know, this NBA film study video definitely had to be done. We got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, and we also got to speak on the Utah Jazz. Both teams kind of trended in different directions, and the thing about both teams is what they're both doing is surprising everyone. The Utah Jazz and their success this year, nobody saw that coming. And when we talk about the Los Angeles Lakers and some of the tough streaks that they've been dealing with, injuries, even with those injuries, they still have not been playing up to expectation. We have to talk about it. And what we do is we use the NBA film study to identify what's going wrong with the Lakers. All right, what are they doing wrong and what are the Jazz doing right? All right, so we got to get to the video, the video and the NBA film study. Before we get started, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you haven't done so already. The next grind is to 100K. I mean, hopefully we could get there. Hopefully we can get there within the next 6 months. The goal is just to continue to keep growing and grinding. Salute to everybody that's been supporting the content, sharing the videos, donating to the channel. All of those things really help push the content, help us come up with new and creative ideas. We got a lot of new things coming for the channel. A lot more giveaways. We still got the FYF Sports community basketball event coming up in July, especially if we can hit those donation goals. So all of that's in the making with FYF Sports. Hopefully you guys stick around long enough to share all of those moments with us. But right now we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers and the Utah Jazz. Now, as of late, you know, I thought the Lakers, coming off of 3 straight losses, you know, as a veteran team, you know, with the veteran coach in this league, I thought they would come out and maybe try to make a statement this game. Come out with a change of mind. And that's what most great teams do. I mean, when you look at a lot of the great teams, whenever they get into a funk, they always have that statement game where they can come back and say, you know what, you know, we were in a funk, but now we're back and we're showing everybody. And this was the perfect game to do so with the Utah Jazz, the best team in the league record-wise. And you have the opportunity to beat this team on their own home court. All right. And I thought the Lakers this game would show up. I thought all of the bench players would show up, hitting on all cylinders. And unfortunately, that did not happen. Now, when we look at their last 3 losses, they scored 98 points against the Nets. The Nets won that game 109-98. And that was one of the more alarming things because the Nets give up the most points in the NBA. All right. And so for them to hold the Lakers under 100 points, I saw a lot of things in that game. Not with regards to the Nets defense, because it definitely wasn't the Nets defense that kept the Lakers under 100 points. It was the Lakers' poor offense. I mean, whenever you miss 21 wide open shots uncontested, that's not defense. That's just you missing shots. They're a poor shooting team. They lose to the Heat by 2. So the Heat kept that game under 100 points, 96-94. And then we have the Wizards game, another game. This is definitely a game you should win, but the Wizards are playing great basketball right now, riding a 5-game win streak. Russell Westbrook's playing great basketball. Bradley Beal's playing great basketball. They're clicking. It looks like they finally found their groove, so they won that game. It was a high-scoring affair. The Nets are still one of the worst defensive teams in the league. But they're one of the best scoring teams in the league, and they won that game 127-124. The Lakers failed to really close that game in the clutch. So in all of these games, the Lakers had opportunities going into the third and fourth quarter to really close the gap or really separate themselves from other teams, and they failed to do so. That happened against the Heat. It happened against the Wizards. It happened against the Nets. The other teams, the Nets, the Heat, the Wizards, they look like the more veteran, savvy teams. They look like they knew how to close these games a little bit better. And then we have this game with the Jazz. As many of you guys already know, this is a game where the Lakers just simply got trounced, 114-89. It just wasn't close. The Utah Jazz used a very, very strong second and third quarter to separate themselves. And once that happened, because of the Lakers' inability to score the basketball or at least shoot, all right, and teams have really keened in on that weakness because of that inability to shoot the basketball, especially the three ball, and that's what really gets you back in some of these games. They don't have the power to come back from big time leads. They don't have the offense. The Lakers right now are a front running team. They have to start strong, and they have to allow their defense to carry them throughout the game, because their offense right now, as it stands, is not going to win them games. When the only person on your team that's really giving you any legitimate offense is LeBron James at 36 years old. I mean, you got guys like Kuzma, KCP, Wesley Matthews, Marc Gasol. All of these guys have just kind of disappeared. They're all struggling defensively, one. And then on top of the defensive struggles, they're all struggling to score the ball. Missing wide open shots, struggling to find their rhythm. They kind of look lost out there. They all kind of look like they don't really understand their role offensively. All right, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead. We're going to get to the NBA film study. We're going to really break down what happened in this game. And, as we like to do whenever we do the NBA film study, we like to stop at certain plays. We like to pull certain plays back because we like to look for, and I want you guys to look for your own as well, because we're going to be talking about this in our live stream tonight. Poor tendencies. And again, I don't necessarily care about the final score. My biggest thing is the tendencies that's cost this team, the Los Angeles Lakers, to lose 4 straight games, which is something that should not happen with a team that has championship expectations. So there's something gravely wrong with the Los Angeles Lakers offense and defense. We're here during the NBA film study. We're here to identify what went wrong and what they can do to fix it. Now, just to let you guys know, they are missing 2 of their best 3 players, Dennis Schroeder and Anthony Davis. Dennis Schroeder, definitely a player that they missed tonight. Everybody thought he would be back. He wasn't back. And obviously Anthony Davis, we know what he brings to this team offensively and defensively. When he's not there, everything completely changes. As it should be. He's one of the top 10 players in the NBA. So whenever you're missing 2 talents like that, Dennis Schroeder and Anthony Davis, things change. But at the end of the day, regardless of who's on that court, when you have LeBron James and when you have championship level guys like KCP, like Kuzma, like Morris, all right, like Caruso, like Wesley Matthews, when these guys go out there with LeBron James and they get blown off the court by a Utah Jazz team, there are glaring issues that need to be resolved. And it doesn't have anything to do with 2 players missing. But let's go ahead and get to the NBA film study so we can kind of break down what went wrong for the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, we got our NBA film study right here. Utah Jazz starting the game out. All right, Mike Conley, great game, man. Great game for Mike Conley. And look how we start the game off. Look how we start the game off. And just with a very basic 3-point shot off the pick and roll. A very basic 3-point shot off the pick and roll. Now, we're gonna talk about Mike Conley. Mike Conley was very solid tonight. 5 of 10 from the field, 4 of 6 from the 3-point line. This was one of his first threes. The Utah Jazz, and then the Lakers had to come into this game knowing that the Utah Jazz, the number 1 3-point shooting team in the league, they're going to launch a lot of threes. They're going to be looking to attack the 3-point line. I don't know why from the jump I would have made an overemphasis of running these guys off the 3-point line, but starting right out the gate, first play of the game, we're going to go back. Just a very simple, and this is on Taylor Horton Tucker, a very simple pick and roll with Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley. All right. Very simple pick and roll. Now we have Marc Gasol, who's icing the screen. Taylor Horton-Tucker, who's chasing over. But does Taylor Horton-Tucker do a good enough job of fighting over this screen to really run Conley off the three-point line? And this is the difference between veteran guards and young players like Taylor Horton-Tucker, who has a very low defensive IQ. And Gobert does a great job of really holding him on this screen to buy Mike Conley some time. All right. But Taylor Horton-Tucker cannot allow himself to get screened to this degree. You put Marc Gasol in a very, very tough position. Obviously, Marc Gasol can never switch screens. He's going to ice everything. Taylor Horton-Tucker tried his best to fight over, but you got to do a better job of fighting over. You got to do a better job of fighting over, and you allow Mike Conley to start the game with a very wide open three. All right, and again, that's just an indication of how the night's going to go. Lazy pass. Again, 5-0 lead. Good shot by Morris. Way to get started. So it looks like the Utah Jazz are really going to be going to this pick and roll a lot. And again, they're keeping it so basic, y'all. They're not doing anything special with this. They're not doing anything special at all. All right, so we got a 1-4 flat pick and roll. All right, so Rudy Gobert this time, instead of setting the screen, and again, a lot of teams do this on the baseline. Instead of setting the screen, they'll fake the pick and roll. They'll allow Rudy Gobert to dive. Morris right here is in terrible position right here. This is and again, for as good as the Laker defense is, this is not a mistake that they should be making. LeBron James needs to be communicating to Morris right now to get over here to this opposite block. All right, because LeBron James can cover the weak side. LeBron James can cover the pass to the weak side corner, and he can also cover this pass, along with KCP helping LeBron James out. But your defense is just going to have to scramble in this situation. But I would much rather want to make Rudy Gobert make a tough pass as opposed to rotating late, giving him a layup. So we watched the late rotation. All right, so he comes late, and Morris needs to meet Gobert outside of the lane lines. So he doesn't meet Gobert outside of the lane lines. He meets him inside of the paint. And we know what time it is once that happens. So again, bad defense there by the Lakers. That's something that they're going to have to fix. That's generally a play where Anthony Davis could bail you out because of his speed and athleticism. Way to get on the transition. So generally, the Lakers defense allows them to get out into transition to score easy buckets like that. Taylor Horton-Tucker, great shot. And the ball movement for the Utah Jazz is just great. That was just a tough shot on a 4-out set. LeBron James, way to get down to the middle of the lane. I wanted to see more of that from LeBron tonight. Really getting to the basket. He allowed this team to take way too many threes. He allowed them to take way too many threes. Again, another pick and roll. And teams are going to do this. As long as Gasol is on the court, they're going to pick on Gasol with these pick and rolls. They're going to make him defend. All right. They're going to make him defend. Here we go right here. This is basic. Now he goes under. But he's able to recover. All right. But he's now using the screen with Favors. Favors sets the screen. All right. Morris is going over. He's supposed to go over because you got Gasol icing the screen. But again, Gasol's at the point at this stage in Gasol's career, he has zero mobility. If these guys don't do a good enough job of running three-point shooters off the three-point line, because Morris is allowing himself to get screened. Morris can do a better job of fighting over this screen. Watch how he allows himself to get screened. He's allowing himself to get screened. He's staying attached to the screener for whatever reason. This should never be a switch. This is on Morris right here. This is not Gasol's fault. All right? You have to know your personnel with Gasol. You have to fight over. And it's plays like this that really hurt you in the long run. Or plays like this that jumpstart the Utah Jazz offense. Allows Bogdanovich to get a 3, cut the lead down to 1. Now we got the skip pass. Out of position scramble. Gives up another 3. All right, Favors just powering through people. Love that pickup by the Jazz. Favors is one of the best defensive bigs in the league. Surprised he didn't get more looks in the offseason as a free agent. Great D by Montrezl Harrell to take away the drive. But you got to know your personnel. Got to know your personnel. Great putback by Montrezl Harrell. What do y'all think about Montrezl Harrell? He's having a really disappointing season to me. Went from averaging almost 20 a game last year. I think he's down to about 12 to 13 right now. Down a lot of points. But he's in about the same amount of minutes. He's getting the same usage. Jordan Clarkson with a 3, man. This guy definitely going to be a 6-man of the year candidate. He's definitely leading in that category right now, man. Just playing lights out basketball. This is something right here. What I just saw LeBron James do again. This is something that LeBron James needs to stop doing, especially at his age. All right. This is something he needs to stop doing because it's going to get his team killed. All right, because this was really a great play on the ball by Royce O'Neal. This was a great play on the ball. LeBron James being lazy with the ball, not being strong with the ball. Royce O'Neal just pokes the ball out. That was a great. Ref's not going to call that. That's a great no call by the ref. Why would a ref call that? That's a great no call. But the first thing LeBron does is look to the ref. This is a ball where LeBron James can still be in the play. The ball is still loose. Y'all see the ball loose right there. It's still a loose ball. LeBron James is crying to the ref. All right. Now let's watch what he does after he cries to the ref. After he cries to the ref, you got all look at all 4 Utah Jazz players. It looks like they're all in a dead sprint to get into transition. They're all in a dead sprint to get in transition. You got LeBron James, Montrezl Harrell, all right, all behind the play. You got Taylor Horton-Tucker, the only one really here in the backcourt that can defend this play. Nothing good can happen. So you got 3 Lakers behind the transition. You got all 5 Utah guys with a head of steam in transition. Nothing good can happen when you do stuff like that. That's a selfish play by LeBron. Whenever you start doing stuff like that, that's a selfish play. You just have to call it what it is. Mike Conley with another 3. Trash defense. Taylor Horton-Tucker really shouldn't be on the court. I'm glad he's getting these minutes. Maybe he has to go through these growing pains. But this type of defense will get you destroyed in the playoffs. Again, Wesley Matthews. Come on, Wesley. Let's pull that back. Now these are shots where people just feeling themselves now. And some people will say this is a great contest. That's not a great contest. All right. Wesley Matthews, you know this is a 3-point shooting team. I mean, that should have been overly emphasized by Frank Vogel. 3-point shooting team. I'm guarding them at the 3-point line. I'm not guarding him. Look how deep Wesley Matthews is. He's guarding him behind the 3-point line. Okay, so they've been hitting you with this screen with Gobert all night. All right. So Wesley Matthews, if you know this screen is coming, that's even more of the reason why you need to step up higher so you can chase over. But he's sinking below the 3-point line. He's sinking below the 3-point line. He's going to allow himself to get screened when he should squeeze and pinch up with the ball, right? So he can get skinny and chase this and chase the offensive player while Montrezl Harrell ices the screen because we know we have Gobert. Watch what he does. He sets himself up to get screened. He sinks. And Clarkson just nails the 3 right in his face because he sinks. And now, and this is what you set yourself up for. When you give NBA teams, I don't care what NBA team it is, when you give NBA teams open shots early and they get hot, it's a wrap. They're gonna start cooking. These are NBA high-level offensive players. Great take by LeBron, and we need to see more of that. This is what I want to see more of. All right, we talked about it this in our live stream a lot. We need to get LeBron off ball a lot more. Off ball a lot more. Get the ball in some of these other guys' hands and make the defense think a little bit. I mean, instead of just sticking the ball in LeBron James' hand and allowing him to throw time bombs to players or shoot the ball at the last second. Come on, y'all. I mean, look at the activity. I mean, like LeBron James can play off ball to a certain degree. We need to see more of that, especially when AD and Schroeder are out. Bad D on LeBron. Bad D on LeBron. And Conley, again, no resistance driving to the lane. These guys, we should be pinching up on everybody. You should be pinching up on everybody. Now you got Clarkson hitting everything that he sees. Any daylight that he gets, the ball's going in. This is that second quarter where they start to run away. This is that second quarter where Utah just starts to run away because of the 3-ball. Oof. I just want to see what went wrong there. And obviously, I know it's going to be a transition bucket for the Utah Jazz because the Lakers, their best player, does not set a great example of getting back in transition off of mistakes. That's something that LeBron James has struggled with his whole career, crying to the refs and not getting back in transition. I mean, some of his teams have been great defensively. LeBron James himself, great defensively. But when your team is down, when you're playing a 25-6 Utah Jazz team, you can't make these types of mental mistakes. And look at the trickle-down effect when LeBron's not on the court. Here's the trickle-down effect. So we had a lazy move, all right, dribbled off his foot. We're getting out in transition. And KCP just gets destroyed on that. Great move by Kuzma. Way to set that baseline spin up. All right. Love to see Kuzma activate. It shouldn't take LeBron, AD being out of the game for Kuzma to really activate. All right. Niang with that 3. He's a solid player out of Iowa State. I like his game. LeBron with the assist, but man, these are really empty stats right now. The strategy with LeBron on point guard has to change, man. They have to put the ball in somebody else's hands and make these teams really think. All right, that was a switch. That was an unnecessary switch right here. So the Lakers need to be icing every screen with Gasol. Gasol could never switch, and this is why. This is why right here. Conley does a good job with the snake dribble. Of really getting the Lakers crisscrossed up on this pick and roll. He does a great job with this. All right, so we got the pick and roll. Remember, they're anytime Gasol is in the game, you're gonna see Rudy Gobert go to this pick and roll. Every time they're gonna be picking on Gasol. All right, now Mike Conley does a great job with the snake dribble because what does the snake dribble do? The snake dribble puts the chaser, which is KCP, in a horrible position. And it takes the Iceman. It makes him have to move his feet. So now they're testing Gasol. Can you move your feet? All right, KCP does a good job of kind of switching this up. Hitting the audible on the run, but it's just a bad switch. It's a bad switch. And this is one of the weaknesses of having Gasol on the court. This is why everybody's saying that the Lakers need another big, a more mobile, versatile big. And can you guys please stop saying Mo Bamba? Mo Bamba would not help in this situation. Mo Bamba is not a very good player right now. Let's not act like Mo Bamba will be the solution to this particular problem. You need a high IQ big. You need a high IQ big that can actually move. All right? A guy like PJ Tucker would play this beautifully. That would be the more ideal fit in this particular situation. All right, so he moves the Iceman. And then Gobert does a good job of just diving on the small guy. Throws the lob over. He scores the ball. They're picking on Gasol, y'all. They're picking on Gasol. Whenever Gasol's in the game, they're going to pick another screen with Gasol. All right, Gasol makes the wrong read here. So Gasol's in the wrong right here. Gasol needs to drop. All right. It's because Tucker Horton Tucker and Morris should be able to contain right here. They should be able to contain Conley. Gasol, whatever he's doing right now is wrong. He's out of position. Gasol should never be switching. So we're going to watch how they get burned again. All right, so they're picking on Gasol with another pick and roll. All right, so Gasol needs to ice and just drop into the post. All right, LeBron James, Morris, and KCP have Conley covered. He's covered. All right, he's doing a good job of running them off the three-point line. It's Marc Gasol that makes the bad decision here. He switches, kicks it over to the weak side. All right, and this is why I say it was Marc Gasol's fault, even though he kicked it to the corner for the three. All right, the reason why the reason why guys got sunk into here is because of the switch on Gasol. So when Gasol switched and wasn't covering Gobert, everybody now had to kind of sink into the paint to help Gasol out. All right, which left Bogdanovich wide open, which even if Morris gets out here, he can make a quick pass over here to O'Neal, which again to Donovan Mitchell, and it just looks bad, all bad from there. We're going to take it back. All right, we're going to take it back one more time. I think this is a very important play. All right, so because of Gasol's mistake, look at when because Gasol makes a mistake, Morris, who normally should be a little closer to Bogdanovich, all right, has to now sink into the paint because there's no paint protection. Because Marc Gasol is too high on this pick and roll. Marc Gasol needs to be dropping. All right. Now because Marc Gasol's out of place, he's pulled Morris out of place, and Mike Conley, as a great point guard, exposes the mistake. Kicks it to Bogdanovich for another open three. Mistakes. And it's personnel. Bad pass by LeBron. When it rains, it pours. Throw the oop. When it rains, it definitely pours. Throw the oop again. I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys what I mean. I love Gasol's had a great career, y'all. Gasol's had a wonderful career, man. Been a very solid big man. I'm impressed with what he's been able to do. But Quinn Snyder did a masterful job of picking on the worst. They picked on the worst defender on the court for the Lakers. They did a great job of picking on him time and time again with the pick and roll. And you guys got to give Rudy Gobert his props. The screen setting of Rudy Gobert is got to be next level. He's up there with some of the best screen setters in the league. When you talk about Cody Zeller, Draymond Green, you got to put Rudy Gobert up there. You got to put him up there. I want to watch this baseline screen again. I'm going to watch this second baseline screen again. Gasol. All right, this is just really a DHO that's going to turn into a screen. But KCP chases over. Great job. But what is Gasol doing right here, y'all? What is Gasol? See, what the Lakers are going to have to do is, what the Lakers are going to have to shade another guy. LeBron is going to have to shade up somewhere else. All right, I'm going to have to see O'Neal beat me with this corner three. All right, maybe not Bogdanovich, but somebody else is going to have to beat me. If you're going to have the Gasol in the game, expect to get beat on the pick and roll time and time again. And it's not that he's getting beat on the pick and roll. He's making the wrong decision out of the pick and roll. All right, KCP in all reality has this covered. With LeBron, all LeBron needs to do is stunt, and KCP can recover. Marc Gasol doesn't trust KCP, so he's playing too high, and he just gets burned again on the backside. There's nothing we can do about it. It's either don't play Gasol and put somebody. And I would rather play Montrezl Harrell over and over again. I trust that more than I do Gasol. You just need somebody more mobile. Teams are going to expose your weakest defender. Once again, Gasol out of position. We're going to go ahead. I mean, it's like repetitive now. I don't know how many more plays like this we're going to see. And again, I don't want to keep picking on Gasol, but the Utah Jazz are picking on him. So I have to emphasize it. This is how this league got out of control. And as I said before, the Lakers are a front-running team right now. Because of their inability to shoot the three-point shot, it's going to be hard for them to make up big deficits. So if you could jump out to a lead on the Lakers, you're probably going to win the game. They don't have the offensive firepower to come back. They don't have the offensive firepower to come back from big deficits because they cannot make open shots and they cannot make the three-point shot. So, again, he goes away from the screen. This time he just goes right at Gasol. And Gasol does a bad job here. Gasol has to understand that he needs to cover Gobert a little better. Right? But he's allowing himself to get pulled out of position by guards. He's not trusting the defense, especially help. Like Caldwell Pope is a serviceable defender. He can cover this. He's fine. All right. But he needs to be communicating with LeBron that, look, I can't be the help guy if I have Rudy Gobert on these pick and rolls. I can't be the help guy because I don't have the mobility to, and you guys aren't covering me when Rudy Gobert comes to the basket. Look at this. Who's covering Rudy? I mean, LeBron James either needs to come bump Rudy Gobert or he needs to be yelling to Gasol to stop switching. Neither happens. Walks in for a layup. Horrible communication. Another alley-oop play. And that was between two guards. Great move by LeBron James. Glad to see he went to the post there. But again, if you're not going to come back in this league if you don't have the ability to make threes. And again, here we see it again right here. I don't know what it is. I mean, you guys can, I don't know what you guys are watching. You guys can blame whoever you want to blame. You can say whatever you want. I'm telling you, when Gasol's in the game, teams are going to pick on Gasol. He's sweet right now in the pick and roll. Gasol, if you're a guard in the league and you got Marc Gasol as a defensive player, I'm going pick and roll with him every time. You're gonna score. So look at this. So Gasol's doing what he's supposed to do. He's dropping now. Let's see where he went wrong. So now he's backpedaling. All right, he's backpedaling. He's chasing. But what is Gasol not doing? Okay, so we see KCP has now got the ball closely guarded. But Gasol needs to put more of a focus on the roll guy. Gasol's staring down the ball. No emphasis on his man. Staring down the ball. No hands in the passing lane. His man gets it. Derek Favors scores the easy layup. And there we have it right there, man. The Utah Jazz moved to 26-6 on the season. Lakers fall to 22-11. Utah Jazz win this one 114-89. The Lakers again are held under 100 points. And they really need to get some answers to some of their problems. Now the Lakers were lucky last year. The Lakers were lucky to the degree last year that they didn't have the injury bug. There wasn't a pandemic and COVID protocols that could take guys out. They were lucky in that sense. I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit of luck to win a championship. It takes a little bit of luck, health, teams getting bounced out, and just the perfect matchups here and there. It takes a little luck. Now, how can the Lakers deal with the adversity of injuries and the COVID protocols? All right. Playing more games in a shorter amount of time. All right. What can they do when the shots are not falling, man? Let's get to the Lakers stats, man. Let's get to the Lakers stats. LeBron James, man, just an abysmal game. 19 points. 7 of 13 from the field. It's kind of somewhat efficient. 1 of 5 from the three-point line. And, a minus 20 on the night. It almost looked like LeBron James was a little bit checked out after that second quarter when the writing was kind of on the wall and Utah Jazz just kind of took off. The only other players in double figures were Montrezl Harrell with 16. I mean, again, 2-point shots. I mean, these are guys that are really taking a lot of 2-point shots to stay in the game. That's really not going to beat you. And then you have Morris with 12 points. Everybody else was in single digits. Nobody really had an effective game. And when we look at the overall stats, the Lakers shot 8 of 33 from the three-point line, 24%. They shot 34-85 from the field, 40% on the night. And then even from the free throw line, they shot 65%. Just across the board, extremely poor offensive performance. Not particularly sure what the Lakers can do to improve the shooting on this roster. But they definitely need to be buyers in the buyout market. I mean, if there's a guy like Blake Griffin available, I mean, he's not the same Blake Griffin, but he can give you offense. He can shoot the ball. If there's a guy like JJ Redick out there, he can shoot the ball. It's gonna hurt your defense, but he can shoot the ball. You may have to come up with better defensive schemes, so that you can kind of cover up some of his defensive flaws. But the Lakers only 89 points on the night, just kind of look like they checked out. I mean, to get blown out like this in a nationally televised game, that's definitely got to be unacceptable. Frank Vogel really needs to get back to the drawing board to kind of figure out what's going wrong with this team, because Schroeder being out, AD being out, that's part of the game. It's next man up. These guys on the bench have to step up and figure it out. This is why Montrezl Harrell was brought in. Montrezl Harrell, it's your time to step up. AD is out. All right, Taylor Horton-Tucker. Schroeder's out. It's your time to step up. All right, Kuzma, it's your time to step up. All right, we've seen you step up and produce and give big numbers. All right, but for Kuzma to come into this game, 25 minutes, all right, be ineffective defensively, 5 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. I mean, that's essentially not even being on the court, man. You got to be a bit more effective than that. All right, when we look across the board with the Utah Jazz, almost all of their starters in double figures. You had Bogdanovich with 15, Gobert 18, Conley 14, Mitchell with 13. You got Favors with 12 off the bench. You got Clarkson with 18 off the bench. They shot beautifully from the three-point line. They shot 45%, 22 of 48 on the night. We see where the problems start with the Lakers. See, the beauty about basketball and the beauty about matchups is that teams can exploit your biggest weakness. Like people always get on me. I'm harping on the Nets' defensive flaws, and I always tell people, I say, in the playoffs, great coaches, great teams are going to exploit your biggest weaknesses. And the Lakers continuously, and they were in a situation where they were forced to play Marc Gasol a high volume of minutes. But Marc Gasol looks like a major wink out there. I mean, there's not much you can do on in these situations when they're putting you in constantly into pick and roll after pick and roll after pick and roll. And Marc Gasol has the ice, and he's making bad decisions. I wouldn't even say he's making bad decisions because he's not a smart defender. He's just not mobile and agile enough to react at the NBA level anymore. It's crazy. The Lakers got the Portland Trailblazers next up. I mean, they got a couple of tough games next. They got a couple of tough games coming up. They got the Blazers tomorrow. Then they have the Warriors. Then they got Phoenix. They got the Kings. They got the Pacers. Then they got the Warriors again. I mean, and that's after the All-Star break. Those are games after the All-Star break. So they got 4 more games going up into the All-Star break. All going to be tough matchups. I mean, the Kings are not going to go away easily. We just saw that with the Wizards. The Suns are definitely not going to go away. This is a game that they probably have marked on their calendar as well. We know the Warriors have been fighting the war. I think the Warriors have already beat the Lakers once this year. And you got the Blazers. We know what Damian Lillard loves to do to the Lakers. I mean, for him, the Lakers are food. And we know that Damian Lillard loves that pick and roll. I mean, there's all Utah did was just show teams. They just exploited. Frank Vogel's going to have to go to his strategy that he used against Utah last year. He's going to have to bench Gasol. Gasol just, in certain games, Gasol just can't play. That's just how it is. I mean, they really need to get in the market for a big that can move. But at the same time, he's reliable and can help you space the floor. PJ Tucker may be that answer. But they definitely need more shooting. They cannot just be a front-run team. Games are going to be tough, especially when you're playing the top teams in the league. But I want you guys, let me know what you think about the Lakers. Let me know what you think about this breakdown. The Utah Jazz played a great game. They came in. They executed their game plan beautifully. They played like the best team in the league. And they came and played like a team on a mission. Salute to them. Quinn Snyder has that team playing lights out basketball. All right. After seeing them play tonight, I mean, do I think that they can win a championship? I think there's an outside chance that they can win a championship. I think star power generally wins championships. I don't think they have the star power necessary to win a championship. But if they can continue to play like this, they'll be formidable. I'm curious to see when a team. When you have a team that can switch some of those pick and rolls and put you in a situation where you can't shoot so many threes, I'm curious to see how they react then, especially in a playoff series. But until that happens, man, the Jazz played a great game. I just got to give them their props for it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you let me know in the comments. All right, if you're in the live chat, make sure you go to the comments. Let me know what you saw from this game. What was the biggest problem in this game? Was it offense? Was it defense? Is it just effort and energy? What problems do you think the Lakers had that need to be resolved? What did you see about the Utah Jazz that impressed you? I mean, were you impressed? Were you not impressed? I mean, there were a couple people going into this game they just knew that the Lakers would get blown out. I didn't think the Lakers would get blown out. I thought they would come and play with some sense of pride, and they definitely did not play with any sense of pride. And that's something that can't be tolerated right there. There's a lot of things going on right now with the Laker team on a 4-game losing streak. You can continue. I keep hearing people say it's going to be okay. And even I said that after the first 2 losses. Then there was a 3rd loss. Now there's a 4th loss. Like, it gets to a point where you got to stop and be like, okay, we can't keep saying things are going to get better. AD's not coming back anytime soon. As it stands right now, we don't know when Schroeder's going to be back. We got to step back if you're a Laker, and you got to say, hold on, we need to fix something right now. All right. Kuzma, if you can't activate right now, then maybe you need to go activate on another team. Maybe your talents need to be taken elsewhere. I mean, somebody needs to light a fire under some of these players. I mean, if I'm the GM of this team, I'm really going to have to sit down and talk with some of these guys. Look, Kuzma, do you really want to be here? Do you really want to be on this team? Because if not, we can send you somewhere else where you want to be. 5 points? Morris, you shot 40% from the three-point line in the playoffs. What's going on right now where you can't make a shot? Caruso, you play with a lot more energy in the bubble. How can we get that energy back? Wesley Matthews, we saw you scrambling all over the place for the Bucks and making shots. What's going on with this offense where you can't do either of those things? I mean, they're at a point right now where you need to play Aaron McKinney. I mean, he's at least had championship level experience with the Warriors, and we know he can defend and we know he can make shots. I'm not going to say he's a great shooter, but he has length. He has size. He can defend. He gives effort. They got a lot of questions that they need to answer. And I think, again, go on a 4-game losing streak, it's only so many games you can lose in a row where you can say everything's going to be fine. As it stands right now, it doesn't look like things are going to be fine for the Lakers. Now, I know they'll eventually get their guys back. All right. But in the midst of all of this, you're exposing a lot of weaknesses that you have. Gasol right now is the biggest weakness on this team defensively. Defensively, teams will be picking on him whenever he's on the court. And so if you have to go to a small ball lineup, how can your small ball lineups, let's say with a Montrezl Harrell, how can you guys defend better? Because I even saw the same things happen in the Montrezl Harrell with regards to the pick and roll. Then I even saw the same things happen with Caruso and KCP, all right, when both of the bigs were out. So if the same things are happening with everybody, you guys are continuously failing to guard the pick and roll correctly. With Mike Conley, all he needs to do is snake dribble, get you out of place, and he can start pinpoint passing to guys that are wide open on the perimeter. What's wrong with your defense that's allowing this to happen? Do we need to get more aggressive? Do we need to get more physical? Do we need to start checking guys that are cutting through the lane? Do we need to be more attentive to detail somewhere on the court? Something's going wrong with the Lakers. Somebody needs to figure it out. But this is one of those times. This is one of those times where you need to just kick all the coaches out the locker room and you need to have a players-only meeting, because this is not about coaching right here. This is all about your intestinal fortitude on the court as a player. Because they could have came out yesterday and just played with a sense of pride and urgency and been more competitive. Regardless of what the schemes were, if they just played with pride and a sense of urgency like it was a playoff game, they might have lost, but they wouldn't have got shellacked by over 20 points. So right now, I think this is a turning point in the season for the Lakers. I really think, I'm not going to be one of those ones that say, oh, trade, because they haven't traded anybody yet. The team is what it is right now. Until trades actually happen, they have to deal with whoever's in that locker room. They got to figure it out. Utah Jazz, salute, man. I think they're going in the right direction. I'm glad they didn't panic this summer and trade Rudy Gobert. All right, a lot of people thought he would get traded. They kept that core group together. They allowed everybody to get healthy. They brought in more shooting. They're doing it the right way down there. And it's paying off. It's paying off because everybody's buying into their system. For as great as Donovan Mitchell is, for him to come into this game, he didn't have to come out and try to do it by himself and score 30 or 40. He did it within the concept of the team. He allowed Mike Conley to get off early. All right, everybody in double digits. You got 6 players in double digits. Yeah, Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench on fire, playing his role beautifully, and now he's defending as well. I mean, salute to the Utah Jazz for turning that team around. I think they have a very, very bright future. I'm curious to see how they perform in the playoffs, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a team that's going to take that 3-point shot away from you. I want to see how they react to a situation like that. But until then, the Utah Jazz are the best team in the NBA. Salute to everybody watching this video. Make sure you tune in for tonight's live stream. We'll be back live tonight to really kind of talk about some of the games going on tonight, to talk about this Laker team. How can they recover? Because they need to get a win under their belt. They need to win a game just to get out of this funk. Can they beat the Portland Trail Blazers? That's the next question. Are they good enough right now to beat the Portland Trail Blazers? All right, and we know what Damian Lillard likes to do to the Lakers. All right. Hey, this is FYF Sports, man. It's been another great podcast episode. Again, make sure you guys tune into the live stream. The only way you know when we go live, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Hit that notification bell so you know exactly when we go live. And then jump in the live panel. Yesterday was one of the better live streams I think we had because there was a lot of new faces, a lot of new people that came and chimed in, gave their opinion on some of these things that we talk about. That's what I appreciate most, especially when I see all these new faces. So, again, if you've been wanting to get into the live panel, just look in the live chat, click that link, hop in, let us know what you think about some of these things that are going on in the basketball world today, sports related, whatever you want to talk about. Just let us know here on FYF Sports. But it's FYF Sports, man. It's been another great NBA film study video. And we
out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Can't set a weight, gotta get to it. Plug throwing loads, always run through them. Ain't talking money, I'ma ignore them. Stack money, check my stats, I perform. Road running, switching states like I'm torn. Everything foreign, hopping out phones. Always been awkward, never did the norm. Bippin' trying win, then I go record. Ain't taking breaks, gotta get it all quick. Doing pickup, drop offs like Liv. Listen, now my game plan to get rich. Shooters on deck, know the haters sit. Face high stakes, came through in the clutch. Put on work, never thought giving up. Run up wrong, then my shooters gon' bust. Risk it all, that's why I got drug my nuts. Ayy, got money rolling, pockets swollen, diamonds frozen. We bring them hoes in. Money rolling, my pockets swollen, my diamonds frozen. We bring them hoes in. Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Don't get attitudes, I catch altitude flights every week, try and stick and move. And Reynolds with the pecs, fucking with the crew. Only up from here, I don't think I'll lose. 1,000 on the bags and the vacuum seals. Won't know I got it when it's vacuum sealed. Ride with it all day, try flipping pill. Young go getter like taking milk. Want some shit with Vontae, slick and trill. Tell you about them long nights in the field. Plug chose me off the trust we built. Gotta keep it on me, I ain't trying to get killed. Stack the honey bun, cause I'm a road runner. Switching lanes, I be road running. Taking risks, all I know is hustling. Week after week, lows coming. Do what I want, I stay stunting. Never going broke, fuck struggling. Was down bad, I know the struggle. Ain't gotta spin to get it on the muscle. Found a way to get my bands up. Gotta flow, watch it count up. Ain't gotta be round and watch it add up. Perkin' lean in me, better wear out. Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plugged on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, my pockets full. I'm a road runner.